welcome back, 5011 fam.
Hello, all you highbrow Negros. We are here.
Yes, we're here. It's Dee Dee, it's Jay, doing what we do, having conversations that spark conversation. How y'all is? Welcome back
Yes.
to another episode, y'all.
Oh,
Yes, we're here at the
did y'all
5011
miss
Chronicles. I'm
us?
sorry, what'd you say?
I asked them, did they miss us?
Of course they missed us. What kind of question was that? They're always looking for what we have to say.
It was a rhetorical one. You asked.
I didn't hear you, I just be like, you know me. I'm a little ditzy, and then I got this extra blonde in here, so y'all know I be having my moments. But
Is it seeping to your part? You're so
come on
silly.
now, let me tell y'all, this is like the third retrograde going on simultaneously, and life is crazy. So this episode is purely mental check-in. We're gonna do a little tea exchange, talk about a couple things, and of course, we're gonna wrap this episode up with a for the culture. So again, thank y'all so much for tuning in to this episode of the 5011 Chronicles. Let's get into it. D.
Go.
As you know, and as I know, we both have transitioned into new positions, more
Yes.
responsibility, higher pay,
Yes.
lovelier
Yes.
benefits, and more
Hallelujah.
stress, right? Come on, hallelujah. And then
Come
more
on now.
stress. She's there too. She's
The
sitting in the back
transition
seat,
be
she's buckled
transition.
in. Yes. The transition has been wild for both of us. And I think that this is the perfect time for us to do a cute, quick mental health check-in because let me
Yes.
tell you, for me personally, it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
It's been more than a lot.
I was about to say it's
And you know
actually been
what's
more than a
crazy?
lot.
I feel like I've been making it harder on myself because you know how like you don't want to feel bad, like you don't want to feel bad. You
Hmm.
like we have these good things going on, and then life is still life, but
Lifing.
you want to feel good
Hmm.
about the good thing that you have because you're grateful for it, you're happy about it. But then it's like you're fighting with yourself because you still have your feelings, and I'm having this battle of like I'm trying to learn to allow myself to feel my feelings
Hmm.
without getting stuck in my feelings because I'm also a very passionate person
Hmm.
and I'm like a water baby. I am the emotion. I got all the feelings. I got all the emotions. I am homegirl on Mean Girls that was like, I just have so many feelings. Like that's me. But I also am somebody who like pushes all of that down and
Hmm.
I just try to put on like a happy face to make everybody else, I don't want to project my stuff on everybody else. So it's like for me, I've been having more of like a internal mental battle
Hmm.
than battling what's the life of it all.
Yes. Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Same.
I've been battling myself.
Same. If I could offer some unsolicited advice, because very recently I went through
Your advice
something.
is always solicited.
Well, grazie. If but for me, very recently I went through a major work experience loss. And this was prior
Mm-hmm.
to, just so that audience, so y'all are in 5011 fam. I was working for a company that recently closed the location where I was. And that was a pretty difficult transition because I experienced that literally a year ago with a whole different company. So I'm like, God, what you trying to tell me? But it
Okay.
was interesting because prior to that, I suffered a major loss at work. I was up for a major promotion. It looked like I was about to get it, and out of nowhere, I was just kind of blindsided. And one thing that I was going through that particular transition is I'm typically the kind of person who does not allow themselves to feel their feelings. I feel bad about feeling my feelings, kind of
Mm-hmm.
unlearning some things from childhood, from, being taught what a man is and what emotions are and all of that. I think also our community
Yeah.
is really bad about telling us, stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. So
Mm-hmm.
when I
I
experienced that
heard that one.
loss, come on now. I can't tell you a single black millennial who hasn't, unless your family just
Child.
didn't tear that behind up. But and there's some out there. They're few and far
Listen,
between, but they're
I
out
can't
there.
relate to those.
Same. But for me, like recently, and I think I communicated this to you and to Aisha and to some family members, but I went through that loss and I was sad. Like I was legitimately sad. I was angry. I was trying my best not to be bitter about it because I felt like there was
Mm-hmm.
more to the story, which thankfully, after investigating and praying and doing some healing, there wasn't more to the story. It just literally wasn't the best fit at the time. And what's crazy is God had something better. But what's wild
Mm-hmm.
is like I've never really truly allowed myself just to feel my feelings when I've experienced disappointment or when I've experienced some type of loss. And usually it
Yeah.
takes a week or two before I'm like, okay, now, you can take your 25 minutes to, be upset about this, and then you can get back to life. But in that moment, I allowed myself a few days to feel my feelings. And I told people when they're like, "Are you okay?" No, I'm not okay right now. I'm allowing myself the space to feel my feelings. Get back to me soon.
Oh, that's
If you
I am not there yet.
and
That
it
is
was different.
admirable.
It was really different. But what I also learned, and I wasn't looking for respect or acknowledgement from others, but as I said it to people, I realized that they gave me that space. I wasn't even asking for
Hmm.
space. Wasn't asking for space. I
Yeah,
wasn't
they
telling them
just
they
kind
needed
of
to do anything
respected it.
differently. But I was like, hey, like, no, I'm not okay right now. I'm feeling a flurry of emotions. I am in a really unique kind of foggy, hazy headspace, and I just need to feel my feelings in this moment. Like, and once I feel them and move through them, I think that will allow me to heal a little bit faster versus me suppressing them.
Hmm.
Because I too am a chronic emotion and feeling suppressor or
And
repressor,
you're
push them
also
to
the
the back,
strong friend.
and also the strong friend. So as you know, like typically as strong friends, you just hold on to it. You want to present strong, you
Hmm.
want to be
You're
strong
there for everyone
for
else.
everybody else. And so it was so unique for me because what I realized, even with family, telling them, "Hey, I'm still not okay right now," and it crazy thing is, I felt like it was going to last forever, and it lasted like 3 days. It was like 3 days of letting myself feel my emotions. That at, on that third day, I started seeing myself turn around, getting back into the enjoyment of things that made me happy, wanting to do new things, exploring the next options, looking into new adventures, and it worked out better for me doing it that way than historically suppressing and pushing things down, because then I found myself being
Yeah.
triggered repeatedly with things that weren't even related to the situation. I was always getting triggered.
Mm,
I was always in a
yeah.
space of re-traumatizing myself because I wasn't allowing myself to feel it. Or I'd be by myself and just go off about the situation, be like, okay, now I'm about to be around people, so I got to get back together. Okay, pull yourself together,
Hmm.
like, and I've
Yeah.
realized that it was the healthiest decision for myself to go ahead and feel those feelings. So if I can impart
Yeah.
anything to you, is when you find yourself in that space, feel those feelings, stay in them. It's so uncomfortable. It's so uncomfortable at first.
And that's my thing. Is like my feelings be so intense that it's like I don't be want it to be. And then it's like I don't know what it is. It's like it's like you said, like you just be like you feel like you gotta like pull it together,
Hmm.
or like you feel like a part of it be like out. Sometimes I feel bad about not feeling good because I know how much I have to be grateful for. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? I know what I've come from. I know how far I've come. You know what I mean? But then it's like the reality is like I'm still going through things. Like
Hmm.
things are still happening. And so it's like, and then there's your level of vulnerability. Like I could not see myself like actually telling people like, no, I'm not okay. Give me like I just you know me. I'm good. Like
Hmm.
I hit you but I'm good and that just be what it is. And you probably can still tell that my energy is off because I have a lot of energy. So people probably can tell that my
Hmm.
energy is off, but most people don't. I'm used to people not really, they just accept that I'm good. So
Yeah.
I've just become accustomed with being able to get away with I'm good. Cause, and no shade to people, but most people,
Most people don't care.
they don't
Reality.
actually want to hear it.
They don't want to hear it.
You
They
tell
don't
them
care.
some people literally might ask just out of they might feel obligated to ask because
Being
they probably can
polite.
tell that you're not
Hmm.
okay. Yeah, that's kind
Hmm.
of being polite. It's just like I never feel it's like a level of vulnerability for me to like actually tell somebody that I'm not okay
Oh my
because
gosh, you
I
said the
also
magic
don't
word.
feel safe with people.
You said the magic word. The magic
But I
word
didn't
is
say it for
vulnerability.
real.
The magic word is
Yeah,
vulnerability, because that is like,
yeah.
and that's one of my like life soapboxes, is talking about vulnerability. Like, because people, every time I brought it up to some people, or anytime I brought it up, some people have said, because what I just said did not make any sense, but anytime I brought it up, there have been people who occasionally say something like, "Oh wow, that's kind of an oxymoron," but I tell them no, it's not, because there is power in vulnerability. Like anytime
Yeah.
we start something new, and think about it, you and I are both transitioning into new positions with more responsibility, and sometimes unique and new settings with unique and new scenarios that pop up. Like that is all vulnerability, because we have to be vulnerable enough to learn, to move forward. We have to be
Hmm.
vulnerable enough to take counsel or coaching from someone that maybe we don't know or that we haven't worked with in that capacity, or we have to be vulnerable enough to allow ourselves to exercise the authority that comes with the new role. Like vulnerability is one of the, I think, most important tools we have in our toolkit in life, because
Yeah.
depending on how vulnerable you allow yourself to be, now it's not saying go in and allow yourself to be a target, because there's a difference between being so vulnerable that you're a target and being vulnerable
Hmm.
enough that you're able to not just appear human, but you're able to maximize one where you are emotionally, mentally, spiritually in that moment. Like I've just realized that there are people who are asked, because just like, we're very similar in that sense. We have a lot of energy, big auras, big chakra spaces that take up a lot of space. So people feel us when we enter and exit a room. People know when something's wrong with us fairly quickly. And we both work for a company that would say this thing, as a leader, you're not a thermometer, you're a thermostat. You set the temperature, you don't just read the temperature. And so I've always carried that with me, as I'm a thermostat. So when I go in and something's off with my energy, people are going to feel it immediately. And they did.
Yeah.
And they would ask, hey, like, Jay, are you okay? No, I'm not okay. Oh, like, and,
Yeah.
and it would sometimes throw them off because they were so used to hearing me say, yeah, fine, I'm good. I'm just going through something. I'm good. Like shrugging it off. But no, I'm not fine. I'm upset, or I'm pissed, or I'm having a rough day, or right now's not a great season, but I'm getting through it. And I
Yeah.
think for them, they even were like, it even helped them navigate me a little bit differently, because whereas they might normally pester me with the smallest of things, or they might come in and know that I'm going to take care. They gave me a certain level of space that was appropriate for me to work through what I had going on, but also
Yeah.
professional enough that to where they knew if they needed me, I was going to be there and show up. So
Yeah.
I would encourage you to try it. Like
See,
maybe.
but I think my problem is like I never feel like a safe space to be vulnerable. I don't feel,
Mhm.
or like even I don't know if you can relate to this, but like for me, like in my family, you can't be like telling people what you got going on because it's gonna become like public fodder. It's
No,
not gonna
absolutely.
be like oh, I'm here for this. It's gonna be like, girl, did you hear what she got? Child, da, 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 da. Yes, it's gonna go
Hmm.
down the rumor mill. It's gonna play the game of telephone, and it's gonna be something that's gonna be thrown back at you. It could
Thrown out of
be
proportion, turned
very
into
much be
something
thrown back at
else.
you.
Yeah,
People are gonna put their
weaponized.
opinions and
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna put their sauce on it, and
Mm-hmm.
so it's like I think I'm just somebody who, like, because I've never really felt safe being vulnerable with people. It's not something that's like I'm just not comfortable with it. I literally I have to feel safe with you to even say anything other than I'm good. Because otherwise you're gonna be like, I'm good. Like, how you doing?
But
I'm gonna flip it on you real quick.
think about it like code switching though. Like, because even in our families, even in our friend circles, there are people that you can have certain conversations with that you can't with others. And it's almost like code
Hmm.
switching. Like the way I talk to my close circle is very different than how I talk to work friends or church friends or associates or whatever. Like it's a different level. I can tell somebody, like at my job, I could tell somebody, oh no, I'm not okay, but I'm getting through it. Whereas I might tell you, I'm not okay because X, Y, Z, A, B, C, this is what they did to me, this is how I feel, blah, 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 blah. I might give you the whole, how do they say, chapter, book, and verse, or book, chapter, verse. I might give you the whole ordeal, but for them, they might get a synopsis like, I'm not feeling my best today, but I'm okay. I'm getting through it. And I think it's important to be real with yourself, because what I've also learned is that when I would suppress it and tell myself or tell others I was okay, knowing I'm not, it's like my spirit and my psyche and my subconscious hears me lying about being
Hmm.
okay. And so it's like I'm lying to myself or trying to convince myself I'm okay so that they think I'm okay. When in reality, it's like now not only are you putting yourself in this weird back and forth emotionally and spiritually because you're lying to yourself, but it's like, I
Yeah.
don't know. I've just realized there is more power when I just say, hey, yeah, I'm not my best self today. So I'm going to work on this office work. I'm going to deal with my paperwork for right now, but I'll come and check back with it, in an hour or two with you and just see if I can help with something then. And I think it's a balance with vulnerability and boundaries. I'm learning now. Like it is a balancing act. There are people that
Yeah.
we can let that shield down with, and we can just be like, oh, this is what's going on. But even when you want to practice that certain level of emotional honesty, there's still
Hmm.
like a level of discernment we have to use, because like you said, people will weaponize that and try and use it as a weakness against you. And that if there's anything, you poke the bear and the bear will bite, and then you'll be looking at
Listen,
me crazy as to why did I blow up on you.
don't poke this bear, honey.
Please don't, because she will
You
read
see
you for
this bear,
filth. You will want to learn a new language and move out of the states. Okay.
You ain't gonna never want to speak to me again. You fuck this
ever.
bitch.
They're gonna be like, oh, I don't fool with her no more.
You are not gonna like
I
me
don't
after
fool with
that.
her no more. She just went off on me one day. Well, what did
That's
you do?
literally what's going. I do. I don't fool with her.
Because the one thing
They
I
gonna say
know about
I'm
my
mean.
friend is it's never unwarranted. She don't ever just go and
It's
read
never.
folks or
I don't bother nobody.
nobody ever.
'Cause I don't even like people.
Period.
It's for me to bother you.
Period. Craziness. Like,
But they swear, child. They swear I'm mean, child. They swear. And
so
nine
y'all,
times out of ten, if somebody say I'm mean, it's because I said something.
and it's also because they don't know you. Like, someone
Yeah.
told me earlier they thought my sister was mean. And I said, my sister's not mean to me. She might be mean
Period.
to you, or she might be mean around you, but she ain't mean to me. I don't think she's mean. Like, now she is a Sag, so they have a particular energy, but she ain't mean.
Hmm.
Not in my book. She has a mean streak that's different, you know. But also, like, this is just a heads up. Y'all know we talk about the astrology things, and at the day when we're recording this, we just went into Mercury retrograde. So y'all, that is communication, that's technology. Don't start new projects, don't open new businesses. Ride this one through. This is typically the one we feel the
We are
most.
both starting new positions
Luckily, we both started our new positions before her,
right before.
right before her. But it's like,
But
ride through this one. You will notice changes. You will notice, you might find yourself arguing with people. You might find things that people say irritating you more. Just know that it is celestial. It's not you. Okay. It's not you. It really is. It's more to the equation.
it's crazy because I've been getting on my own nerve.
Same.
Like when I don't be, I'll be like, bro, I just want to be in a good mood and just be like on a high for the whole
Hmm.
day. Just like just ride it. Like
You know,
I'll be getting mad at myself.
I'm really bad about, like, I don't know. I've always had this issue with negative self-talk, getting a little
Hmm.
self-deprecating and going to, like, dark
Me
places with some of the
too.
things that I say to myself. And it's crazy because things have actually been looking up a lot lately, that things have been going in such a positive direction. I'm not used to it. And we've talked about this before, being ready for the other
Yeah.
shoe to drop. So that when I find myself
Hmm.
now in like a spiral and I'm spiraling, I'm like, hold up, you got a new job that's paying you more than you asked for. Life could be a lot worse. You got great things going. Why are you upset? What is the actual problem right here? Like, what is this really about?
Yeah.
Why are you spiraling? Because things are actually looking up. You're not used to
Yeah.
things staying in the positive. So maybe you should,
Yeah.
like, reframe the way you're looking at it. And I've been, like, having to challenge myself with that a lot lately, because I'm just so used to things not going my way, that now that a
Hmm.
lot of things have been turning around and turning up in a positive direction, I didn't know how to take it. Like, even the company
You
that I'm
know what to
working
do
for
with it?
now, it's like every time I turn around and I learn something new about the company, I'm like, wow, wow, wow. Like, it's all good. And I'm just like, wow, wow. Like, every time I turn
Yes.
around and it gets, oh, I started having imposter syndrome, because finding out I got the position that I have at this particular company, and there are people around me in positions beneath me, positions just above me, same level, who've been doing certain things for a decade longer than me. I'm like, how in the hell did I get this? People with more degrees, and I just look at, but it's like, I don't know. I keep hearing spiritually that this is your time. Like, embrace your
Yeah.
time because it's here.
And nobody can do you like you.
You
So it
know,
doesn't matter really
and
anybody else's experience or what
period.
they've been doing. Nobody can do you like
Period.
you.
The period. I love that. Ditto. So I think mentally, it has been a lot lately. But at
Hmm.
the same time, just like there's been a lot of, like, rockiness, which is really mostly me. Um, there's been a lot of
Right.
positive, a lot of external positive, like, I think, and a lot of transition, a lot of change is happening in this season.
Yes.
Now, super quick, I want to have a super quick chat about the Olympics, because I've been enjoying what I've been seeing,
The Olympics
and
has been lit. I've
living.
really been enjoying the Olympics this year.
Okay. What have been, like, some of your favorite
Minus the
highlights?
little track situation that went on. But so okay, so I know everybody we all knew Simone Biles was gonna go
Period.
in. Like I first of all, for her to be so small with there's so much power behind
She's
those
that big.
flips is like she when I tell you like and it be so fast. Like she
She
has
gets so
so
much
much power
momentum. Hmm.
behind her flips. She gets so much momentum. It's so crazy. But I'm like, how's this tiny little girl? You can hear her hitting like the stuff. Like she hitting it so hard. It's so much power behind it. But it's like I knew that she was gonna eat. But the other girl, the Asian, I think her name is Sumi.
Suni Lee.
She had yeah, and she had like the I think it was like a liver or kidney situation going
Hmm.
on, and she fought her way back. And I have absolutely been enjoying her,
Yes.
and I absolutely her floor routine was one of the most beautiful floor routines I have ever seen at the
Hmm.
Olympics. She may not have had like all the same stunts and tricks as everybody, but her it just flowed, and it
So
was just so
elegant,
beautiful. And her on
graceful.
that
Hmm.
beam, she just it's something about her fluidity that I
Hmm.
just love. And it's like you have like her so fluid, and then in that juxtaposition of
The
Simone,
power
so
of Simone.
powerful.
Yes.
Yes, but it's I've enjoyed watching both of them. I've enjoyed now, y'all. We well, Fred,
Let's go with Frederick. I know who you're talking about.
Frederick.
Gymnast.
He's been killing it, and he's been putting the spotlight on the male gymnasts because they don't
Hmm.
really get that much spotlight. Like I
Hmm.
ain't even gonna lie, I don't even really be watching them. But I watched him for one. I absolutely loved his floor routine too. Like he ate down. I loved him on the beam. Like every his energy. Like I just really been enjoying watching him. And we know our girl
Yes.
Shakari. She doing her thing too.
Period.
I'm super excited to see her back. I hate what happened with the whole gate situation, them not
Hmm.
being able to get in, and then the Jamaica the other Jamaican runner, I can't remember her name, but she ended up not even running because they were trying to come in for warm ups and like they couldn't get in. I She still hasn't said why she didn't run. It's not clear why she didn't
Are you
run the
talking
race.
about
They
the
said
the
she's still
legend, the one
eligible.
who this was her last Olympics?
Yeah, the two
Okay.
time Olympic.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Because I
don't know
missed I missed
why.
that whole day of Olympic
Yeah,
activities. That whole day. I gotta catch up.
she didn't do the 100 meter, but it's still she put out a statement today, but it's still not clear
What
why she
happened?
didn't
Hmm.
run. But and I think they said she was still like she still would have been able to run the I think she was in like the 4x4 or something like that. The other one that she was in. But other than that though, I feel like the Olympics has been really good, but there's also been people saying behind the scenes like Paris got a lot going on with it. Paris has been Parising apparently.
Like I
Because
don't.
I believe they was like in a they rooms didn't have AC and so like it's been all kind of stuff
I
going
think
on.
people
Like
need to be
I don't
reminded.
think they was ready.
Paris is like the same propaganda, and I'm going to call it what it is. The same propaganda that they use to advertise the U.S. as the greatest nation on earth is the same propaganda they use to tell us Paris is one of the most romantic, beautiful places on earth, because it's not. Like, there's definitely
Yeah.
some gorgeous landmarks. There's some great food to try, great wine. There's some things that Paris is really, really good at. But let's talk like racism. And from my understanding, I haven't been to Paris, but from my understanding, Paris is like being in the hood. There's a lot of hood in Paris, and the conditions aren't the greatest. Like it, you've got your big
Yeah.
features that are beautiful, but you've got a lot that's not.
That's it.
Because I'm thinking about the River Seine, and how like they kept postponing the what was it, the triathlon or the decathlon, whichever one of those. They kept
Hmm.
postponing it because the water quality wasn't good. Like how your water quality in your river ain't good in Paris, and
And you
then
knew we was coming
and you knew we was coming for years. Why have y'all not been working on this for years? But what's
for
crazy is
years.
they have invested, I want to say $100 million into the river's quality to improve the quality. And it was such a crazy ordeal that right before the Olympics, the mayor of Paris swam in it to prove to people, hey, this water is good. But then literally a couple days before the decathlon, they're like, or the triathlon, they're like, oh, we're gonna push this off for another day or two. Water quality tested poorly.
Somebody go check on the mayor.
Like, but then
Somebody check on the mayor.
the day of, they tested it. They said, "Oh, water quality is good. They can swim today." But then they're like, "We're gonna keep an eye on it."
It's crazy.
What?
No.
What? What?
It's either it's good or it's not.
It's either good or it's not. Come on
Why
now.
keep becoming bad?
But they
Like what's
said it
happening
was the
to it
rain. They said the
between the
rain,
time?
the rain. They said the rain and the pour off from the streets and from different areas in Paris is
Uh,
why the
they
quality.
don't have like sewer things in the drains in the street.
I don't know what they
You
had
just
going
run into
on
the
and why the
river.
river's so nasty. But it's just
Why
it's
is it
interesting.
all running into the river?
Somebody else I want to shout
Terrible
out.
idea.
I want to shout out Jordan Childs. Is it Childs? Yes, I think it's Childs. Jordan on the Olympic team, the Olympic gymnast team with Simone. She has some of the most amazing energy. Like I love watching that young woman when they are getting ready to do whatever they're about to do because she's the team hype. Like she
Yeah.
dancing when the music playing. She is ready. Also, I want to
They
shout
have
out
had
Snoop.
such good chemistry as a team.
Yes,
Yes.
such good chemistry. And
Everything.
Snoop
The
has
best
to be
idea
shouted
ever
out.
was adding Snoop.
I did not realize he was the ambassador that we needed all along.
All
But
along.
I think what's so crazy, and this is a reminder, I think for some people who don't realize this about our country, is America's biggest export still is entertainment. Because if you look the opening ceremony or just the beginning of the
Hmm.
Olympics, the things that we brought the most were Beyonce, Snoop Dogg, Lady Gaga did the opening. Like there were so many American celebrities who were there that
Hmm.
made it what it was. Like, and then there's so many people. I was pointing it out to my mom and my aunts as it was going on, and my cousins as they were performing, doing floor routines.
Hmm.
Several countries doing floor routines in gymnastics, many of them had music mixed with Beyonce. And I was like, that's a Beyonce song. That's a Beyonce song. That's a Beyonce song. Because
Yes, B,
I don't care
the
what
queen.
people have to say about her. She is a global superstar in the sense that everybody
Absolutely.
knows that when you want a banger and you about to do something that's powerful, especially powerful feminine, you go with a Beyonce, you go
Hmm.
with a Lady Gaga, but you most of the time go
You
with a
can't go
Beyonce.
wrong.
You can't go wrong. Somebody else I want to shout out who's not American and who's not black, but I was really happy to see them at the Olympics and really happy to see them make such a beautiful appearance was Celine Dion, baby.
Yeah,
Mother Celine is still the one of the premier vocalists of the world, and even with her
absolutely.
dealing with the neurological disorder that's going to lead to her eventually not being able to control her body, and it's almost like I think like the stiff disease or mannequin
Yeah,
disease
I
where
think
her
she like
body
gets
like
stiff.
is going to
Yeah.
freeze. And I have watched different parts of the documentary that she had come out, I think last year or this year, where she's talked about the struggle of still wanting to perform, but having to cancel performances because sometimes it's her hand, sometimes it's her vocal cords seizing up to where she can't give the performance that she wants to give. I watched that lady sing down in French on top of the Eiffel
Yeah.
Tower, and it was remarkable. And in those moments, it makes me think of, we're witnessing someone in the last cycle of their life, and
Hmm.
we know at some point she's going to no longer be in the public and this, that, and the other. But for her to not only just put on such a good face, but for her to do it so remarkably, reminding us who she is every time she opens
That
her mouth,
global icon that she is.
and then doing
Global
it,
icon.
a global icon, but then doing it with such finesse and grace that you can't help
Hmm.
but smile and watch the performance. Like I just like had to just like sit there and just take it in because it
Yes.
was just
I
so
love me some Celine
remarkable. I do
Dion.
too. She just 10 out of 10 would recommend. So yes,
Hey, did
Olympics.
you hear about there was one other thing. I don't want to say her name wrong. I believe it's Iman Khalif is
Okay.
her name. The
The
boxer.
boxer.
Did you
Yes.
did you see
Yes.
her name?
I did.
Okay, so first of all, let me just say this.
So disgusting.
Angelina, or whatever the girl name was. Because I don't even when she walked out, first of all, before they even got in the ring, the moment she walked out, I was confused why she was even there because there was not one muscle in that girl's body. She looked like she was somebody they found they used to fight in the hood. They was like, oh, she can fight real good. We're going to put her in a Olympic. I have no idea how she even qualified. And then for people to make this big fuss, if you see the fight, nothing even happened.
Nothing happened.
She probably got two pieced a little too hard one time,
She
and then
took
she was like, "Oh, I'm
one
out. I'm
serious lick.
gone."
One lick and she was like, I can't do it.
One good hit, and you was like, "Oh, I can't. I can't. I'm walking away. I can't." I don't understand why she was there. And then for them to make it about
This disgusting
gender,
rhetoric. Disgusting rhetoric.
and it just became this whole transphobic thing. Like, it's
And what's crazy is this is a
twilight.
biological. So let's give just a little bit of background. So Iman, I don't remember what nation she was representing, but she is biologically a woman.
Biological.
Biological
Born
woman.
biologically.
Now, prior to the Olympics, there were times when she was not allowed to compete because of the Y chromosome being present, which happens to a lot of biological
Yes.
women, more than people understand and realize. She's not the only boxer at the Olympics who experienced this, not the only female boxer at the Olympics who experienced this. And for people to go on and twist the wording to make it that this was a trans woman. They called her a man repeatedly in social media, saying a man competing in women's boxing. This is what the world has become, and all these
And
disgusting
talking about her
tweets and posts.
testosterone levels. Like, did you fail biology? Women have testosterone too, and
Period.
everybody's testosterone levels are different. There are women who grow facial hairs. It doesn't make them, they're still women.
It
Like, what are you
literally
talking about?
one of the most disgusting and it was funny because I saw somebody what was funny, not it was funny. What was funny was I saw a discussion where someone had tweeted, they were like they had a picture of Sierra and they said, y'all are always trying to call somebody a man. I've never forgotten this. This woman wouldn't have surgery
Period.
on
I
her
saw that
feet
on Twitter.
because of the things that people said about her. Like people called Serena Williams a man. Like it's ridiculous
Just
because
because she was beating everybody and she was
people,
muscular.
anytime there is a woman who is strong or muscular, because think about it, that's what they all had in common. Muscular, built, could probably knock any man's ass out any day. Like,
And doesn't look as girly as they want them
not
to.
these
Like, she's
soft
a
lines and
freaking
super
boxer.
feminine. First of all, who makes y'all the feminine police? First of all, why are y'all policing femininity still? We should totally be past that. But second of all, if you're not sleeping with them, that's none of your business. If you're not their parent, their child, even then, it's really none of your business. Like
Exactly.
these women should be allowed to live their lives without being so heavily scrutinized on something as stupid of a construct as gender.
And the fact that they even test their testosterone levels, like to determine who can compete. The fact that there's like a threshold of like, oh, if your testosterone level passes it, like people, there's men with higher estrogen levels than they do. Like
Hmm.
it's a thing. It's science.
It is.
People
It
read
is.
a book. But my thing was like, I don't even understand how anybody looked at Angelina, whatever her name was, and was like, oh, she's gonna be a good boxer. There was not, when I tell Jay, I promise you, her arms were so skinny.
Her arms are like
There was
mine.
not
This is
one,
I might have more
not
muscle in my
you
arms than
probably got
her.
more muscle.
I might
She
have more
didn't
muscle
have
definition than
one
her.
her back didn't have, there was no definition on her body at all. She was just skinny and just looked mean. Like she was probably fighting in the hood and they grabbed her up. Like that's what it gave. She was like, I didn't understand how it even got to where it went. And then she wait until all of this happens. Then you come back days later to apologize. Girl, it's too late.
Yeah, it's too
You
late.
are way too late. The damage is done. Like you made this whole, and it's like, I thought I was in the Twilight Zone.
I still
was
feel
like,
like I'm in
what
the
is
Twilight
like,
Zone
what is happening?
because I just people are so hateful and
I didn't
it's
understand it.
people are so hateful and the conversation got so out of hand. I just found myself not getting on any social media. Like I was like, I just can't do it
And
right
to
now.
think you have to defend your gender identity, like what are we like,
And what's crazy is let's
doing?
make this even more specific because she wasn't even having to defend her gender identity. She was having to defend her sex. She was having to
Yeah,
defend her biological
yeah, her
sex.
biological sex that she was born with.
She was born like, first of all, how many of y'all have control of how y'all were born? Period. Not a single one.
I'll wait.
Not a single one. And it's wild to me because people need to understand that intersex individuals do exist. People need to understand that there are women, biological women, who have the Y chromosome. People need to understand that there are biological men who have high estrogen levels. And these are things that people like, this is biology. Go back and read
No one
what
ever heard of
biology is.
androgyny. Like, is nobody know what androgyny is
Y'all
anymore?
thought Prince was the coolest thing since sliced bread, and he had on some of the highest heels you've ever seen, platform and all. I'm just
With his
saying,
ass out.
with his ass out, assless chaps, like a trademark. His symbol
Okay.
wasn't his symbol basically? Wasn't that like? Come on now,
Yeah, it was based on androgyny. Like, I don't
androgyny.
understand. Like, I feel like people pick and choose.
They do.
And I don't understand why, because I remember some like years and years and years ago, there was a woman that was running track for the Olympics. I can't remember what country. I want to say Jamaica, but I could be making that up. I
Hmm.
don't even
I
know.
think I might know who you're
But
talking about.
I remember like they were out about her being not y'all. This is the term that they like. I think she used the term too. I remember this, but she was a hermaphrodite, and that was like a whole big thing of them trying to decide like should she be allowed to run in women's track. And I'm just like, she's a woman. Like,
Hmm.
what do you want her to do? Like, she can't help biology. Nobody can.
Hmm.
That's why
Period.
a lot of y'all is trying to y'all. A lot of y'all don't even like how y'all look, but y'all trying to police somebody's sexuality that they were born with. Are you kidding me?
It's just ridiculous.
Like,
It's ridiculous. And honestly, if
I
people would
couldn't
just
believe
start
that whole thing
minding their
happened.
own business, the world would be at so much more
I was
peace.
like, and if you would have watched the actual fight, that was like maybe 48 seconds.
Literally, it was
She
40.
did
It was
last
less
long.
than a minute. It was literally less than a
If
minute.
you would have watched
She
it,
was
that
scared
I don't
because
even understand how people saw that.
she was in the wrong industry.
She
She was
knew she
completely
was not ready.
she was not ready. Because this is my thing about
You
the
could
Olympics.
tell how she came out. She was already nervous.
Olympics is about the top performers, top athletic performers in the world. In the
In the world.
world. It's not just, oh, this is hood famous Bobo going up on stage. No, this is literally top performers. And some countries have things that they specialize in. Like while we always have some of the fastest people come out of Jamaica, they train for it. We have some of the
Hmm.
best gymnasts almost always come from the US, from China, from Brazil. Like countries have things that we specialize in. Great swimmers from Australia and the US and France. Like, first of all, French dude, Martin, whatever his last name is, with the M, with the blue eyes, sir, you've been doing your big one. You've been
Mr.
doing your
Dolphin.
big one, sir. He has been showing out,
Flipper.
Mister. He has been showing out, but also like I could talk about the Olympics forever. I really could. Katie Ledecky. There have been so many Americans.
Synchronized
I
swimming though
love.
might be one of
I love
like
diving so
I
much.
think that might be one of the most difficult sports there because I don't understand how they do it.
I
Could
love
you
diving so
imagine
much.
being underwater with the little nose thing? You got to lift somebody up and not drown while you like, that. Shout out to the synchronized
Precision.
swimmers. 'Cause
It's like marching band
that
in
is an
water.
art that like whew,
It's like marching band in water.
it
It's
is
crazy.
man
And then this, for me,
literally
even the
and it's
synchronized diving, it's next level. You have two people diving off the diving board doing the
hmm
same stunt with the intention of diving and landing in the water at the same time. And I watched this clip of two of the Chinese divers when they did it, and it's like at the
hmm
angle that they were at, you could see two people jump, but by the time they started tumbling in the air, they became one person because they were so in sync. You
yeah,
could barely tell where the bodies like
and that
split
is not easy to do.
at all.
Because you can't see what they do. Like you just got to make sure you doing what you got to do and pray they doing it
And I pray they're
too.
doing the same thing. I just say shout out to our athletes, not just American
Yes,
athletes, for sure American athletes, but
all of
like
them.
shout out to
Oh, and
all of
shout
our
out to St. Lucia. St. Lucia got
yes,
their
St. Lucia.
first medal, and shout out to St. Lucia.
Yes, St. Lucia. I also want to shout out Rebecca Andrade. I think that's how they say it in Brazil, but it's spelled like Andrade, whatever. But she is going to be one of the next top gymnasts in the world. I think Simone Biles, this might be
Mhm.
her last Olympics. She might be
I
looking
think
to
she said it
retire.
was. I think she
Yeah,
already
I
announced.
think
She
she
said she want to expand her
because
family.
I'm pretty sure that makes sense. And they also called this like this was one of the oldest average ages for gymnastics as far as the team. She's
Hmm.
27. That's crazy that they're like that's old,
Imagine
but
if Gabby had came back. If Gabby hadn't got injured,
I
this would
just
have
think
been like it was already
it's
iconic.
exciting.
But man, if you would have threw Gabby in there with it, I love our people, man.
Come on now, it's been great to watch unfold. Now, next, I do want
Next.
to do a quick little like shout out, a little kind of for the culture moment. Because I did go see Deadpool and Wolverine, and I'm not going to
Hmm.
spoil or spill the movie. There's
Because D
one
hasn't
thing,
seen
Dee
it.
has not seen it, but I already let her know I have one it's like it's a spoiler. It is definitely a spoiler. So for those who don't want to hear it, go ahead and fast forward through this towards the end of the episode. I
Double
apologize.
tap.
But this is actually a really cool moment because this is now a cinematic history moment that was made because of this film. So prior to this film, Hugh Jackman had been sitting, I guess you could say, in the seat for the person who's played a character the longest, over the longest period of time for Wolverine. He's played Wolverine for like 20 years now. So
Hmm.
he's held the title for, you know, actor who's played a character for the longest. That was topped with Deadpool and Wolverine because of one cameo. And it's the only cameo I'm going to reveal, y'all. I promise. I'm not going to get into the film. I'm not going to talk about plot. I'm not going to tell you what's going on. None of the things. I will tell you it was an amazing film.
Hmm.
But what I'm going
Of
to say
course, I wouldn't
is
expect anything less.
Wesley Snipes appeared in the film.
Yes. Was he who I think he
He was
was?
who you think he was. And because he was who you think
Oh
he
man, I can't wait
was,
to see it.
he made history as now being the person to play the longest, to play the
Man,
character for the longest period of time. There are a lot of
shout out
jokes
Wesley
that come
Snipes.
out of that because what I did not know is
Yeah,
so his original film, and for those who don't know, I'm not going to say it because do your research. I'm not going to say it. For those who didn't
you
know, when
should
he did
know.
this film trilogy, this was actually, and people don't realize the history. We are always at the beginning of something. His
I don't even think people realize that it all connects to comic books. Like I don't even think
it,
people realize that. We was just like Wesley Snipes, we're going to see it.
yeah, but
The black man is killing it.
what's wild is like in that era that this his original first film came out because it was a trilogy. They had three of them. When the
Hmm.
first film came out, there were two. There roughly ended up being two within that same era. Two films about superheroes starring black men. There was his film franchise and there was Spawn. And because of these
Hmm.
films,
Oh
in
yeah.
particular because of the Wesley Snipes trilogy, that is what led to the MCU actually becoming a thing. They had no intention of making X-Men movies. They had no intention of making Fantastic Four movies. Iron Man was not going to be a thing because they did not think there was a market for superhero movies. They did not think there was an
Hmm.
actual market for turning comics into film until the Wesley Snipes trilogy. And what I did
That
not
ate
know
down.
is the third film in his trilogy was Ryan Reynolds was in that film, and they did not have a great working experience. But this is like a full
Now I'm trying
circle
to
moment.
remember.
He was I think he was
I
kind of
ain't
like his
watched that in a
side. I hadn't seen
while.
it in a long time. I want to go back and watch all of them, but
Watched that in so long.
he
That's
was
why I'm
like
like, now I want to watch them
he
all
was like
before
his
I go
sidekick
see
kind of
Deadpool.
in that. Like I think he was like a sidekick or he was like I can't remember
I
exactly.
was a kid. I can't remember.
But Ryan, that was like Ryan Reynolds' intro role into like superhero and supernatural type
Hmm.
films. And then for them to have this full circle moment, there is a little dialogue that happens that picks at them not having a great working experience the first time that they work together. And a lot
Hmm.
of jokes about his character because there is supposed to be another film in the works that keeps getting delayed, but it's interesting because they make a lot of jokes about that. There's a lot of like I would just say for my comic book MCU
I love the
fans.
way Deadpool breaks the fourth wall.
So I mean, and does it all through this film, but does it in such a unique way. Like this
Yeah.
film was definitely it's gonna tie in so many things. And for
So
you in particular, there's some things that this ties in that I'm like, D is going to lose her shit. Like she's gonna really love this because one of the
I
big
can't wait.
overarching themes is gonna connect to something that I know you love a lot from the MCU. And so yeah, really excited
So
about that.
I'm excited then, because you know Deadpool is already one of my favorites.
Period.
So if you
Period.
got Wesley Snipes in there, I'm all in.
Like I know my
I cannot
friend.
wait.
I know my friend and I know that you are gonna love now, for people who are thinking about taking their kids to see this, don't.
Don't.
This is not now what I will say is if your kids are young enough that they don't understand some of the nuanced adult jokes, because there are a lot of nuanced adult jokes that will just go completely over their head. They would not know what they're talking about. Like there's a joke in there about pegging and it was hilarious. But kids would have no idea what that is.
Typical Deadpool.
You know, and actually that's in the trailer, so I didn't really spill anything crazy with that. But there's a
Yeah.
like this movie, the biggest thing that for parents or godparents or uncles and aunts, cousins who would want to take their youngers to see this, there's a lot of F bomb. A lot of it because that is something that Deadpool's known for. But when I tell
Listen,
you
that is Deadpool also.
they went overboard with this one. Like they F bomb a lot in this movie, a
Because
lot more,
Deadpool is crass.
very crass. And they do it a lot more. And of course, with it being R-rated, it's very gory. So those who have sensitive
Mm-hmm.
stomachs, who don't like the sight of
That
blood, who don't
just
like
makes
seeing
me
guts,
excited.
if you don't like seeing guts and blood and slashing and shooting, then this is just not going to be your thing. But those who love Deadpool, who love breaking the fourth wall, who love MCU films, I think this is easily going to be top 5 MCU films of the past decade and probably moving into the next one, depending on how they
Yeah.
do with the X-Men and some of the things they have planned for the future. And they also have been spilling
And
some
shout out to
tea about
Robert
them.
Downey Jr. too. I
Let's
know
talk
some of
about it.
the some of our community is a little upset about this.
I'm not going to say that I'm
But
upset
first of all,
about
I
it.
want to say this. Go ahead. What were
I'm
you
not gonna
gonna
say
say?
I'm upset about it. I just think I don't know. I mean, I get why, because it's Robert Downey Jr. and he helped really
Mm-hmm.
kick this thing off, and he's a phenomenal performer. Plus,
Mm-hmm.
his face is not gonna be a big deal in the role. It's not like we're gonna easily mix him up with Tony Stark, because Victor Von Doom is completely different. But I
Yeah.
also like the thing about Marvel that I've loved, MCU in particular, prior to this point, is they've always given us stars who are typically bona fide, who put in their time, who we've never seen in the roles that they're put in, like who we've never seen maybe make that
Mm-hmm.
transition to an action adventure or a fantasy or a supernatural or a sci-fi. Like I know a lot of people did not, and I'm not even the biggest fan of Brie Larson as Captain Marvel, but seeing her make that transition was a unique transition. Seeing Angela Bassett in the Black Panther films,
Yeah.
seeing Letitia Wright, seeing Chadwick Boseman, seeing Samuel Jackson as Nick Fury, seeing some of these transitions as you see these people who have bona fide, strong acting careers take a unique, like even Batista
Yeah.
being a Guardian of the Galaxy and
Yeah.
all of the Chris's that they've had, it's been unique transitions for a lot of them, so much so that people then get to see this actor with almost like a fresh set of eyes. And I think we'll
Yeah.
still get that with Robert Downey Jr. because he'll be playing a villain or an anti-hero almost. Because Doom has both of those moments where
Yeah.
he's a villain and he's an anti-hero.
I feel
Um,
like I would be doomed.
I don't know. No, I don't
Be a
think
villain
so.
and an anti-hero.
I don't think so. I don't know. You would be more like Namor. You'd just be either anti-hero or a hero. I don't think you'd be a villain.
Yeah.
Okay, what were you gonna say?
No, I don't got feeling. I was gonna say because there's been a lot of chatter more so on the Jonathan Major side of it, or people feeling some type of way about Robert Downey Jr. getting that and then making the Doom whole thing going on instead of doing what they were gonna do.
Hmm.
And my thing is this: I just want to say this for the people. Now I do understand that people feel like because I think he was like found not guilty or something like that. So
Hmm.
people feel I ain't gonna lie. After a while, I stopped keeping up with that.
Yeah,
It
same.
became like a circus to me.
Yes, it did.
What's the whole him and Megan? And it was a circus. So I kind of checked out on that. But people feel like he should have gotten the opportunity, and they felt like, oh, that it was like a race thing. And this is the one time where I will say I don't feel like this is a race thing. I feel like it's more of like a network covering themselves things because nobody knew how that was going to turn out. Just
Yeah.
like Johnny Depp lost Pirates of the
Hmm.
Caribbean, and I think people forget Robert Downey Jr. was blackballed. Robert Iron Man was his comeback.
That
Like
was his
Iron
comeback.
Man
Yeah.
was the revival of
Yeah.
his career,
Absolutely.
and then people comparing. We also cannot compare somebody having drug abuse problems with somebody being in court for like physical abuse.
Hmm.
Those are not the same
Two
things.
different things. Yeah.
Abusing drugs and abusing people are not
Not
the
the
same
same.
thing.
Yeah.
They don't correlate. And Robert Downey Jr. was blackballed. He lost
He
a
was
lot of
blackballed.
opportunities
Absolutely.
when he was going through what he was going through. So I know it's easy for us to feel triggered by certain things when it comes to our people because we know that our people have been done wrong.
Hmm.
But sometimes let's just think before we throw on these capes and start throwing out all these statements and stuff like
Hmm.
that. It's like it's not unheard of for a company to kind of back away when they don't know what the heck is going on and what's going to happen. It To me, it wasn't far fetched for all of what happened before, like the court situation, all that stuff that was coming out. It's not wild that they was like,
Let's not do
let's
this.
step
Let's
away,
distance ourselves. No, absolutely.
let's not, because nobody knew how that was going to go. Nobody knew.
Facts.
And if I'm being fair, some of the stuff that came out in court, while the whole physical abuse thing, while that we all don't know what was going on with that. But there were other stuff
His character
that was
flaws
coming
that
out,
came out, yes.
and I need people to not have like a one track mind
Come
either.
on,
Like
let's
look
think
at
full picture,
everything.
people. Because for
Let's look
me,
at everything.
this is my thing. Now, what I will say to piggyback off of what some of the people were saying, I don't agree with them in the Jonathan Majors thing. I think that was a great decision for Disney. And I mean, honestly, I would have loved to see him continue his role as King, but at the same time, that much can't be revealed about you. We can't know this much about you, who you are as a person. And
Okay, and
Disney
act like
have
we
their
didn't see
name
it.
attached to you because Disney does all their dirt secretly. You're way too public for
Yes,
them at this point. Too many people know, and too many organizations will be
too much.
boycotting you. But what I do wish could have happened, I think Kang was way too good of a character for them to let him go. Like, I would have loved to see
Yes,
Coleman
I
Domingo
would have
or
loved to pick for
somebody
somebody.
else
Yes,
play the role. That's what I would have preferred. Even, and I hope that they still
but I
do.
don't think that that's out the way. I was gonna
That's my.
say
I hope that they
I
still
don't
do.
think that that's like out of the question. I think what it is like they had to do a secure, safe pivot because at that moment they didn't know what was going on with him.
Hmm.
So I think they probably was like, okay, for one, Robert Downey Jr. is somebody who not only pioneered pretty much this whole Avengers arc and all this stuff that's going on, the people
Love
love
him. Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The people love him. He's become a face that's synonymous with Marvel. So
Hmm.
it's like it's somebody that was tried and true that they could rely on and could put in this role and know that people would still be excited about it. Know that this person is going to deliver, and then it was a way for them to kind of have a backup arc because they didn't know what the heck was going on.
Hmm.
Nobody knew how that was going to turn out. Nobody did.
Nobody.
You couldn't look at that
You
at
couldn't.
surface and be
You
like, oh
couldn't,
no,
and be like,
he's
oh
the
yeah, this was gonna happen. No, absolutely. Like,
yeah.
because honestly, if I'm being honest, I was surprised he was found not guilty, because I was expecting it to go in a whole different direction. Um, but
Yeah.
I do really wish that they had recast it, and I still hope that they do, because I would love to see Coleman
Yeah.
Domingo in the role, or
Hmm.
John David Washington, or
Yeah.
anybody. Honestly, at this point, any other strong
Yeah. They
black male
definitely
actor
need
in the
to
role.
still keep that story arc
I think that they
in there for
should
sure.
bring it. But what I will say is great about them going in the Doom direction is because now we know we're going to get the Fantastic Four a little bit sooner. We also know
Hmm.
that this whole next saga, this whole next arc, this whole next phase of Marvel is going to be the mutant saga. And I'm really excited
Yeah.
about that because we're going to start seeing more and more mutants pop up. And there were
And
several
even when they
in Deadpool and Wolverine. I'll just say that.
don't even rub it in.
I'm not.
And even when they announced Robert Downey Jr., they kind of alluded because I feel like they're gonna. This is all a part of them playing with the timeline. We
Hmm.
know they've been playing with timeline and merging and the worlds and the earths and all this stuff like that. So I feel like it's just their way of still. I think they've done it because there's been so much going on with switch ups with like Chadwick Boseman passing away and all stuff like that, that it gives them the opportunity not only to incorporate the stuff that they got back, like X-Men and Spider-Man and all of that, but then it also gives them the opportunity to do whatever they want.
To do whatever they want.
Literally do whatever they
And I
want.
think that their goal
It
is
opens
they're
them
going
up
to
for
try and
so much.
fix some of the loopholes. They're going to try and create
Yeah.
a more, they're going to really try and reset.
Then tie a whole new timeline,
They're going to try and
probably.
reset because
Yeah.
for those who don't know, and then I'm going to get off this soapbox, I promise. 'Cause y'all know we could talk Marvel
Because
whole
I have a
hour,
soapbox to go on after this.
period. But what I do find really exciting about it is like with the oh my gosh, did I just lose my train of thought? Oh my gosh, I think I just lost it. I think it just ran away. I think there it goes. I think it's gone.
Timeline.
Timeline, yes, it's coming. We're almost there. Almost there.
You
Okay,
think that something's going to
timeline.
happen with the timeline
Do,
and
do,
it's
do, do,
merging
do. But again, this
together
is going to give
and
them a
they're
great. Oh,
gonna
there we go. For those who don't know, perfect. I love what you did there. I love what you did there, D. I was like, I had to move the hair around to see if the thought came, if it went to one side or
yes.
something. But what I was thinking is like, for those who don't know, in the comics, the story arc that we're kind of currently in that they're setting up is this whole Secret Wars and Battle World and the Secret Avengers and the things that are going on in the background. And there is a war that happens at a state a world called Battle World. No, it's like a dimension or a reality where you have, and
Yeah.
what we might end up with are the Avengers versus the X-Men, or we might end up with Earth
Yeah. I
616
really,
versus.
really,
I think
really,
that's where they're
really,
headed.
really
I think
like
that's where they're
I've
headed.
been wanting that for years.
I think that might be where they're headed, just based off of what I've seen recently. I think that might be some
Yeah.
of where they're headed, because they didn't say anything explicitly in the film that I saw, but there were little nods and little things that were said that it's like, why would you say that? Why would you pick that?
Hmm.
Why did y'all do that? Like, as Marvel
And
fans,
we
we've
know
been
they
trained to have
have
a
to tie
keen
the
eye,
X-Men in at some point.
and they're doing it. They're doing it because they've been doing it for the past
But it's
couple
like,
films.
give me the whole thing.
I think they're about to. I think
Let's
they're about to
work
hit
it
us
off.
pretty hard with information, and so for that, I'm excited. I also am excited to see how, because the next Avengers film, the Avengers 5, when it does come out, it is going to be big. It is going to be very
Yeah.
big, and I
Can't
think
wait,
we're getting to the
man.
point where we're going to see more than one Avengers team soon. So I think we'll be seeing maybe a Young Avengers and maybe an Illuminati version, where it's the leaders, or maybe it's we start seeing the A team, which I think is an all female Avengers. I think we're going to
Hmm.
start seeing a couple different teams of Avengers pop up. Also, we might see the Midnight Sun soon because they're also moving in this
I'm
supernatural,
excited.
sci-fi direction. So there's our Marvel
Yeah,
soapbox.
I'm
It's going to
excited.
be
I ain't gonna lie.
spicy.
Marvel has been like the highlight for me for a
Yeah,
while. I'm
quality,
excited about where
A
Marvel is
plus
going.
quality. Yes.
Super.
Hmm.
Speaking of quality,
Let's do it.
let's talk about the lack thereof. Speaking of quality,
Hmm.
I feel like our brother Tyler, the message went over his head. I feel like it went right past him,
I feel like it
or
always
he
goes over his
dodged it
head.
like this. I don't know. But I just want to say there were some things in what he said. Now, for one, there were some gems in what he said because
Hmm.
some of what he said was very, very true. The beginning of what he said, where he gave really good advice. Oh, I'm getting ahead of myself, y'all. He was talking with KiKi. If y'all didn't see, she interviewed him and she asked him how he felt about the critiques he got on Divorced in the Black, because a lot of people.
A lot of
I think we
people.
all synonymously, it was people who always love it that loved it, and then there were those people that was like, it was so bad you couldn't look away.
I
You're like,
finally
you just
saw it,
had
and
to
it
watch.
was so bad that you couldn't look away. Like,
You just had, but it's like the whole time you're watching, you like,
what
what,
is this?
what?
Yeah, so many
And
moments.
I just want to say this. So he started out saying like, which things that I agree with, like you have to block out. Sometimes you have to block certain things out because you can't allow people to block your blessings and where God has you. Right? Sometimes people do have. They're not critiques, it's judgment, or they be hating. People be hating. Sometimes people be hating.
Hmm.
But here's the thing, because he made it seem like people were saying that we were tired of black stories. Nobody
That's not
said
it at
that.
all.
Nobody nobody said they were tired of black stories. We're just tired of you not being able to write them.
There it is.
That's what we're tired of. We're tired of the
We're
lack of
tired of
story. We're
your
tired of you not being able to
stories.
tie a storyline together.
Hmm.
And there were some things in what he said. First, in his mind, the people that are critiquing him are highbrow Negroes who get in their Volvos and go to therapy. No highbrow Negro that is searching for a Volvo, first of all. Yeah. Second of all, aren't you a billionaire? You are the highest brow of Negro out of
Come on
all of
now.
us that are critiquing this film. Let's also address that part. And then, as somebody who has not officially gone to therapy, I still have critiques on what you're doing. So I don't understand why he. And then he was saying how like he writes his story for the hairstylist and the maid and the Tyler. I mean this with the most respect. You're not a black woman. Please stop writing for them. Get the people who were hairstylists and like get them to tell their story, because all of them have not gone through the exact same thing,
Hmm.
but all of your stories are the exact
The
same thing.
same, yeah. He has a
There is
formula,
not
and it's
one
not a great one.
type of black woman who, and as a grind, because he said the grinders are the ones that get it. As a grinder, somebody who's not a billionaire and who is out here getting it in my Kia, not my Volvo. I don't like your story. Like, as a black woman
She
who's
doesn't
a
relate,
writer,
Tyler.
who has hairstylists in her family, went to esthetician school myself. You know what I'm saying? I have nurses in my family, all of that. I don't relate. I can't. I'm tired. We tired. Millennials, I think, are tired,
Yes,
except for the people who have not healed and are still in that
that
cycle of
cycle.
what you're writing. And my thing is like, for you to feel like, for one, for you to look down on the people who are highbrow Negroes who get therapy as someone who is a self-proclaimed person who went to therapy and also a billionaire. I keep reiterating that. I don't understand how you can have been in this game for 20 years, even as an artist. Let's take the race out of it. Let's take the background of it. As an artist, how have you been in the game this long and we don't see any growth? How are your stories not evolving? You've been to therapy, but there's no proof in your work.
Mm-hmm.
Where is that? You mean to tell me that all the women around you are still in the same situations they were in? Those women they didn't evolve or grow. They didn't heal. They didn't do nothing. Oh, I guess they had got a man that saved their life. That's what they did. They found them a good man in God. Yes. Like,
I agree.
God,
Like
like,
I'm
how
totally
did he
tired
miss?
of
Like, how
Tyler
did it go
Perry.
over his head like that?
But
Like,
it's he doesn't want to see it. That's the reality. Is there's some
he
people
doesn't want to
who
see it.
in their eyes, in their books, in their lives, they can't be wrong. Like, not only does he have main character syndrome, and that main character is Medea, but at this but I think that he is so and then you also got to look at who his friends are too, because Oprah can't take critiques like that. Lee Daniels can't take critiques like
Mm.
that. Like there's so many in that
But you know
circle.
what? The work is better when he works with them.
It
I can
is.
say that.
It is. But it's also because they all then bring their shared life experiences together. And
Yeah,
between the three of them, now we got a real person. Like now we have an actual
that's
person,
true.
some real, and even that's one thing I can say I respect about Lee Daniels and Oprah is when they do, and Tyler, because when they do come together and work on a project, I think about Precious, as difficult as it is to
Mm.
watch and rewatch,
Precious was,
beautiful, well done film.
yes.
Very well done. Very real.
I quote Precious to this day.
Yes, you
I
do.
love Precious.
Yes, you do. You do quote Precious to this day. But like that is my thing, that because I watched it, I'm not gonna say against my will, but I was with family and it just was one of those things. We were where we were and we just watched it. And they wanted to watch it. And there were a lot of moments where I kikied, like laughed, because they think I'm laughing at dialogue and I'm laughing at horrible
I was like,
acting,
no, we're laughing at what's
or we're
happening.
laughing at what's happening, and like he put out another one of these. And for me, I don't know, I just think Tyler Perry has so many resources. He has so much potential, because honestly, he's
Hmm.
not horrible as a producer and as a director. He's not horrible. Like he really isn't.
And he's good at coming up with like those like big random, like those big moments, those
Hmm.
big grabber moments that'll get people
He's
talking.
also good
He
at
just don't know
stealing
how to
them,
tie it together and make it make
because
sense. Boom, there it is.
that's the other thing that I don't think enough people are talking about, is the fact that there is someone saying, you took that opening scene from me, a black woman, a black female creator, an independent black female creator. You took that from me. And that is not,
Hmm.
it's something about, and I think that's a soapbox I could easily get on that I'm not going to right now, but it's something about these big these billionaire men stealing these huge concepts from black women, like the Terminator, like the
That he
Matrix,
claimed he's
like
writing for.
the opening scene of his film Divorced in the
Yes.
Black, and even like Medea, who is again not his original character, that's based off people that he knew. That is someone that was like his grandmother and his aunties. These are people whose stories he's just telling. He's co-opting their stories.
Hmm.
And I don't know. I'm just at this point where you can't get to a certain age and choose not to mentor and then expect everybody to still be on the bandwagon with you, because at some point us highbrow uppity Negroes
Highbrow.
We're gonna
Oh
be
yeah, I
over
forgot
it,
the uppity
huh?
because we uppity too.
We uppity too.
I forgot the uppity.
Like like I think that's the thing that that does it for me is because anytime I see his name on a production, I typically don't want to watch it. And again, I don't know if you've
Hmm.
seen the trailer
And that's,
yet. Have you
I'm
seen the
so
trailer for the
glad you said
not the
see
Tyler
his
Perry
name.
movie? Have you seen
I
that yet?
have
Okay, okay,
actually.
that's what I want
Oh
to
my god,
see.
they really covered, and they
I want to
had a
see that.
star cast. Stars in them. I did not expect to
Period.
see so many
It's
stars
a
in
Jamie
that
Foxx
movie.
movie. That's what blew my mind. And so I'm like, Jamie, that's how you feel?
But you know what? I'm glad you brought up the whole his because first of all, you ever notice he puts his name like the name of the movie is always like like
Tyler
Tyler
Perry.
Perry's da da da
Da,
da
da, da.
da.
Yeah,
But there was something in what he said that spoke to his character that made me I'm like I see you for exactly who you are. Because a lot of people talk about like how he hasn't brought like other people in the writing room, so he
hmm
writes all his stuff and da 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 like that. And he was saying like, oh, on our sitcoms, I've brought in like directors and this to work under me, and I'm training them. No, 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 no. You are doing it. We don't want you to train people to do what you're already doing. You need people who already know what they're doing to help you,
you. Yes.
not you training other people because you need training, babe. Sorry, you need training, babe.
And honestly, I
You
think he
need to
needs exposure. Crazy enough as you're a billionaire who needs it. No, 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 no. I think that he's had controlled exposure. He's had exposure that he has been able to control how much, who is in the room,
Mhm.
like whose story I'm listening to, whose film I'm
Yeah,
watching.
yeah.
It's controlled exposure. You need real like you need a writer's room where all you do is observe and you have no control.
But I don't think that he's
He's not going to
someone
do that.
who because there's an arrogance for one that was very much displayed, and then there was this sense of narcissisticness
Of
that was
course.
very much displayed, and it's like it lets us know for one you're surrounded by yes men, and for two if anybody does have something to say about what you have doing, we know you gonna get them right on up
Right
out
up
of
out of
there
there.
because you think they a highbrow uppity Negro who don't understand the plight of a hairstylist or like he blew me when he gave the examples. When he gave the examples and they were all I was it is so crazy because we talked about this and I said like you and it's like I don't want I hate to say it because it sounds disrespectful, but it's the real you are not a black please stop. You don't have no stories of your own, none. You ain't been through nothing.
Well, I
What was you
mean,
in therapy for?
have
What
we?
were they doing in
I'm just gonna
therapy? Like,
say, if you have not
get
seen
a
Tyler
therapist.
Perry play a man, it's not that convincing.
It's not convincing
Alex
at
Cross was
all.
terrible.
He's
Him
not a good
as
actor outside of
outside of
Medea.
Medea, and I think that that is the proof that he needs more exposure. Like I'm telling you, I would love to see
He's not comfortable with himself.
a
Like, I
collaboration
really feel like he's not comfortable with himself.
with like Angela Bassett, who is a remarkable director, a collaboration with Issa Rae hitting the pen, or if you want to do a comedy, get
Because how
Robin
has that
Thede.
not happened?
Like Robin Thede, even
Like,
like why has he not worked with her? She is a remarkable comedian, great comedy writer. She's got Black Girl Sketch Show. Like literally, that like what are you doing?
how has that not happened?
What are you doing?
And it's so crazy because the first thing people say is like, oh, but he's giving all these black actors these opportunities and he's paying them more than they're getting paid in all these other places. But where are they going after they do his
But, like,
movie?
look, but then he's like their resume. Their whole resume is him because it's like
Where they
he
going?
is
What they doing?
because he's making lowbrow films. Like that's my thing. Is like even with Divorce in the Black, you have a fairly all star
It could have
ish
been good.
cast. You do like most of the cast is recognizable. We've seen them in things. We've
Mm-hmm.
seen them in great things, and
Mm-hmm.
I was just so disappointed. I was
There was
disappointed.
no
There
nuance
was
at
no
all.
nuance. There was no like even the dynamics. It was like pretty static. Like it was just a
And
straight
it's
through.
even he doesn't even understand character development. It's like his characters, they either like, oh, I'm an evil person and I'm me. And that's all there's no reason why Corey Hardrick's character was just mean, disrespectful, and rude the entire time. There was nothing redeeming about him to make you think, oh, this is why she married him. Oh, this is why they're together.
We never
Even when
got
they talked about
the
when they
background
first
about the
got together as
dad.
teenagers, just randomly in the bathroom to my shop. Okay, why? What?
She made me do it.
We never went back to that.
And then the next day she's
We
like,
never
let's
went
talk
back to
about it.
that.
He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then that was the end of it.
Like what? Like I don't understand, and it's like I don't understand how like well you know what I do understand because when people are getting paid and when people they do the Hollywood thing, they ain't gonna say nothing. But it's just like the I don't understand how like I just don't understand how we got here. And I feel like
I can tell you how we got
because
here.
he had such a momentum when he first came out, I think he was like this savior for people. And it was like, oh, like and everybody just wanted to keep him. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. But where's the growth? How do your characters lack nuance, but you're this billionaire writer, director, movie producer, whatever the heck? You know what I'm saying? Like I took playwright in high school. I could develop a character better than you. That should not be
Like,
happening.
and my whole thing is I don't want anybody to mistake what we're saying as in bashing films about the
So I'm not,
Black Christian
because I wanted it to be
experience, because
good.
that's not it either. It's literally you have not shown much growth since you started doing this thing. And I think
At
that
all.
the reason he's a billionaire is because he was able to turn a play franchise into a film franchise. And just like those plays sold out, those films sold out, and you just made a lot of money. And you had a character that was easily marketable, a stereotype at that, easily marketable, easily to do, like, easy to, absolute caricature, because it was barely a character. And I think that's where just a lot of my frustration falls with him is like, you say you're so intelligent, you consider yourself well versed, you've got all this experience and all these connections, and yet you still keep putting the same type of film out. And for me, I think that there's even so much more nuance when you talk about even just the Black Christian experience. There's so much more you can do with it. But it's
And there's so
always
many
the
different
same
stories.
story.
Every Black Christian is
It's
not the
like he
same.
got 4 templates of stories that he pulls from, and those he just recycles them. He just recycles them every
from that
time.
hairstylist, that nurse,
Abusive
and
wife.
that maid that he
I
knew.
mean, abusive husband. That's half of his stories right there. That's half of it. Because let me tell you, that's Diary of a Mad Black Woman. That's this film, Divorce in the Black. I mean, like, how many films has he had the abusive husband or abusive wife?
And then you
Why
see
Did
the
I Get
lack of his
Married?
own personal growth. Exactly. And you see the lack of his own personal growth and his issue because I don't understand his issue with the so-called highbrow uppity Negro, which I'm still confused on who he is talking about because he fits
He
that
fits
bill. But
the archetype.
my thing is like, even if you look at the way that he portrays like successful Black women in his films and how like they're always the problem, or it's like, oh, they because they got their career, they don't take care of their man, they not there for their family, and it's just like bro, what year is this?
Is it just
Like,
me,
what are
or
we
was
doing?
the best friend kind of villainized the way she was written? Was that just me, or did you notice that?
She was.
Was
I
it just
peeped it.
me, or did we also again get a light skin versus dark skin situation with that at the same time? Was that just me, or did you see that as well?
And it.
Oh, okay, because
I
I'm
peeped
just
it.
like, I feel like I've peeped that in so many of his. Now I don't want to end this thing on a negative note, so I do want to give us
No.
a positive to spin this on, because just like, for us, we're not checking for Tyler Perry like that. I'm always checking for Jordan Peele. Always checking to see what he's
You better
doing,
talk about it.
always checking to see
You
what
better
he's
talk
working
about it.
on,
Now that
because
is how
you
you
want to
drop
talk
some
about
Black
someone
gems.
who creates nuance, character development,
Yes.
has etched out, because this is
Yes.
my thing. Tyler Perry could have
So
etched
many
out
different
this
storylines.
he could have etched out this whole, segment, this niche that is specifically for Black people, could have been Black comedy, Black Christian comedy, whatever he wanted to make it, and could have just continued to develop it, make it something brilliant and had his own
The fact
universe,
that
and
Divorce
he
in the
didn't.
Black wasn't a comedy is
It was so
comedy to
funny to
me.
me. I was having to laugh like low key during some of the serious moments because I didn't want to ruin the movie for other people in the room. I was just like, oh my God. Oh, but like Jordan Peele to me is the anti Tyler Perry right now. Like, we're
Yes.
getting the type of productions,
Storyline.
the quality. Because let me tell you, for you to be a
Quality.
billionaire, Jordan Peele is out
At least give us
producing
quality.
and directing you every time. Every time.
Talk about it.
With
Talk
the
about it. The
exception
quality
of
is
a
always
couple,
there.
I literally have maybe 2 or 3 Tyler Perry films that I'm like, okay, I don't have much negative to say about these,
Yeah.
because A Family That Prays is again one of my favorites.
A Family That Prays was good. Yeah.
Very good. But also, they're the ones that are not based on his plays. Just saying, like, and the plays, I love the plays as plays back in the day. They were for a
I've
particular
seen the
era.
play live.
Like, they fit the time, they fit the era, they were
Yes.
good for them, but
But
you
there's no
can't
growth.
keep, there's no growth. And Jordan
There's
Peele
no growth.
continues to do nothing but grow. Every film is better than the last.
Yes.
First of all, your first film being
Yes.
Get Out and you destroying the box office the way that you
Listen.
did,
And it was so,
that's what I'm saying. And following it up with
it was
Us
written so
and
well,
Them. And it's
produced
just like,
so well.
I mean, like this is someone who
So
who
good.
who gets it. Like Jordan Peele is someone who gets exact. Because I really don't want our anyone in our audience to mistake this as us just bashing Tyler Perry because we do tend to. He gets read. He gets read quite a bit by the 5011 Chronicles.
I feel like the reading is worthy.
It's
If I'm
definitely
a
worthy.
highbrow uppity Negro, then I'm gonna be that.
It's definitely worthy. I do think that if you want to see
Because we
what we're
want to
talking
see
about,
him be great.
he's got so much potential and he's got the
That's the
budget. That's
thing.
my
We
thing.
want to see him be
You
great.
have
That
the
is what
budget.
we're critiquing.
You have the budget. You got the resources. You got the studio. You have everything you need to literally take Black
He has
Hollywood to
all
the
the
next
pieces.
level, and you're not doing that.
You're not doing
You're
it.
taking steps back every time. So, child, he done wore me out. I'm tired. I'm tired. Shout out to Jordan Peele though. Looking forward to see what you do next,
Shout out
friend.
to Jordan Peele.
And I want to say I have to go back and look this up, and I'll bring it up on the next episode. But I want to say that there's a movie coming out. It's either a horror or a thriller, and it's a Black centered film. I want to say it's about hoodoo. I want to say I saw a trailer recently, and it looked really good.
No, that's up my alley.
You know, so I'll find that and I'll bring that back to y'all 5011 fam so we can check that out next
Yes.
time. But y'all, it has been lovely. As y'all see, the twigs are doing their things.
Come on, bang.
You know,
Bang.
got my little Bob over here. But
Oh, Bob.
we just thank y'all so much for tuning in, for kikiing with us, for doing a little mental health check-in. Get in those comments. Let us know how y'all are doing. How are y'all riding these retrogrades? Any new transitions for y'all? Because that is Pluto. She is the planet of transition. So I think it's kind of timely that many of us are transitioning right now. And then like how are you rocking with this Mercury retrograde that's coming in hot, coming in spicy? Y'all, we love y'all. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week here on the 50 Chronicles. Peace.
Peace. Adios, amigos.
Bow.